You've known what's coming for a long time, but the general population that just reads the headlines, they have no idea what the XRP ledger is capable of or why anyone would use it to rewire global finance. And it's understandable. The machine, it's not here to be truthful. If you read the current headlines and you don't understand the story that's underneath, you're going to be lost. You'll see stuff like, well, the government's turned pro crypto because President Trump profits from the industry. It gets some votes. Well, if that's the case, when they vote on these bills, why is there bipartisan support? See, there's always more to it than that. And we're going to talk about that today. Why the government would support decentralized technology like XRP Ledger. It's not so obvious on the surface. We'll dig into it because the more you know, the more power you have. Now, first and foremost, we see this. XRP just cracked the Wall Street Firewall. They told you XRP was dead. They told you institutions only wanted Bitcoin. They lied. Coinbase, it's launching 24/7 XRP futures starting in June. That's not retail hype. Do you trade XRP futures? Of course you don't. That's a regulated ramp for whales quietly positioning. Because right now, they're on the outside looking in. We got the front run, all of that. And they got to try to get in position before it's too late. Institutional XRP lending platforms, they're launching Q3 in the target public companies on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. These loans, they're backed by XRP, settled on chain versus with the XRP ledger. Influencers like myself, we scream about price predictions. The infrastructure, it's being built under the radar here. And it's not about speculation, not at all. This is a hostile takeover of legacy finance. Now let's dig into this. This is what's the truth? Why did the US suddenly go pro crypto? Why would a system like the XRP ledger that's decentralized and you can't control, why would that be something that the government or governments of the world would be interested in? It's not about innovation. They don't care about that. It's definitely ain't about freedom. The government ain't into freedom. All governments are tyrannical. And it's not to get us rich. We're going to make money from this because we understand the underlying value here. Now, you'll hear people admit now, well, stablecoin issuers, they allow you to buy treasuries. That helps fund the machine, of course. But if it was just that, if that was the only goal, they would go to private networks or CBDCs. You could do that same thing. You'd have that same treasury demand. It's not about that. Instead, they're embracing decentralized public blockchains, systems they don't own and control. Why? Why would they support something like the XRP ledger? Because this lets the US dollar move anywhere on earth. What's our big problem right now? Supply. We have tons of, dollars floating around out there. We need more users, more holders of the dollar. And so we're not talking about having to do deals with foreign governments. We don't have to mess with SWIFT. There's no friction here. Just digital dollars embedded into every single market globally, every app, every phone. Local currencies, they're having problems. If they're failing, if people just kind of want to hedge any sort of issues they have in their local region, people adopt what works. And now that means the dollar riding on unstoppable rails. That's what this is about. It is going to make the dollar expand in use, expand in reach, and really in a hostile way zip right into territories where their government, they may not want to allow that, but it's on decentralized technology. They cannot stop it. This is wildly appealing to the US government, and that's why you will see them start supporting blockchains like the XRP ledger. Big rumor that Jerome Powell is going to step down Monday. Now, let's be honest. I'm susceptible to this kind of stuff because I believe that's what's going to happen. If true, though, this is not a resignation, it's an admission. What did he do wrong? What was his biggest sin here? Well, he did mega rate cuts heading into the election. And then suddenly, after it went the way he didn't want, he reversed course. We can't cut rates anymore. We got to worry about inflation. What changed from when he was doing 50 basis point mega cuts to now? Well, you could argue at this point in time, maybe tariffs and the trade wars, but he made that reversal way before. The timing was not economic. Never was. It was political. Everyone saw that. You saw it. I saw it. The world saw it. Now the Fed faces a credibility crisis. The worst possible moment. Markets right now, they're fragile. Global risk is rising. This institution, It needs long-term, nonpartisan leadership. Doesn't mean that the new Fed chair will do what we want. I think it's highly likely, but it doesn't mean that new Fed chair will start bringing down the rates. But it won't be so partisan as it's been. You'll know when they're acting, they're not doing so for political reasons. A change needs to happen. I've been saying that the president won't try to force him out. That ain't going to happen. That he will step down, and just may happen. A lot of rumors floating around that's going to happen tomorrow. We will see. Again, remember, I'm susceptible to it because I've been calling for this for a while, so that's my bias. Just understand that. But that's what should happen. Whether it does or not Monday, we will find out. Now, don't fall for the hype. We've been seeing these articles out there that say, you know what? Google is promoting Ripple XRP as the bridge currency. So we have to really look at the details here. There's a new article right now, quite a few of them promoting this, because when you search for XRP and Ripple, this comes up that, hey, this is the world's bridge currency. But this is the truth. That's not Google talking. It's a scraped AI summary regurgitating content from some random crypto blogs. Google AI overview is not curated. It's not an endorsement. It's just a mirror of what's already online. Bullish posts, speculation, and recycled headlines. This isn't proof of some master plan. It's just clickbait pretending to be prophecy. Be careful with AI. I've had to do some retractions myself because of that. But when you see this AI generated nonsense, understand what it is when you see it. XRP Las Vegas. Been seeing a lot of very bullish posts about that event. Here over the weekend, John Deaton was on stage, and he said the following: thankful to Digital Perspectives, Brad Kimes. He was invited to go on stage with the current CEO of Link2. And Brad Kimes asked him to go on stage with the current Link2 CEO and ask pertinent questions. So this is the deal. I was not an investor on this platform. I never represented it, but I know a lot of you did. So when there's good facts out there, I want to bring it to your attention because it's a big part of this ecosystem. Current CEO stated, there are several regulators now involved regarding Link2's practices. So a lot of problems under the hood here. Link2 is very likely going to file for bankruptcy in the future, maybe something that allows them to restructure, essentially. However, even if that happens during some sort of reorganization and bankruptcy, your shares, whether it's Circle, Kraken, Ripple, those should be safe. And John Deaton says if either Link2 management or the SEC attempt to disadvantage customers, i.e. maybe non-accredited investors that shouldn't have been on the platform, he's going to file and represent those people that are being harmed, the investors that we are supposed to protect. So we'll have to see this play out. It's unfortunate. I know a lot of you have funds that are stuck on that platform, but let's just hope they do the right thing, get back up and running, and get everyone liquid again. It's an unfortunate event, but hopefully one with a good ending. We will see. Ripple, they just got ghosted, but it ain't random. And this is the thing. I was an advocate. We need to move beyond all this stuff, but it's still going on. And all of you out there that are pointing it out, you're doing, good work here. Senator Loomis, chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee, she just randomly canceled her meeting with Brad, and we've heard that. And he tweeted out, and that's him letting you know what? Put a spotlight on this, and you've been doing exactly that. Most people miss, of course, her son-in-law, hardcore Bitcoin maxi, been attacking Ripple for years. And Ripple may be battling more than just regulators. You can bet we are. It's a political game out there as well. But they took their shot. They missed. We won't be stopped. But when you see stuff like this, I don't care what I said in the past, put a spotlight on it. Make sure they can't get away with it again. We got to be proactive. And I see a lot of people out there doing exactly that. Digital Asset Investor posted this following clip of Grant Cardone, where he said, you know what? Crypto's like a religion. You got to pick one God. What a dumb thing to say. You have use cases for Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum. You have a lot of use cases out there. It'd be like if I told you, just pick one company when you're investing in stock. Like, why would you possibly think like this? It's okay if you don't like XRP, but to just say only focus on one coin is kind of ridiculous. It's a silly way of looking at this space, and it has nothing to do with religion. This is investing, and investors, we don't look at life like that. Like, you have to be a fan of only one. No, you can, really have a mature outlook on the space and understand no chain can do it all. They all have strengths and weaknesses, and lay out your portfolio accordingly. Because we saw anything can happen. December 2020, bam, out of nowhere. That can happen with any chain at any moment. Technical failures, geopolitical issues. You just never know. What a stupid comment by Grant Cardone. Larry Fink keeps pushing this idea, tokenization of every financial asset. Mario posted this today with the quote, "We believe the next step going forward with technology is the tokenization of every financial asset." This means every stock, every bond. That means every financial instrument. RWAs are going to be huge. That is the original use case of the XRP ledger. And he says, we're incubating more tokenized real world assets than anyone else. Anytime that I bring up BlackRock, people are like, they're evil, all this stuff. I agree. But they're telling you where the money's going. They're telling you where the tech is going. And it's going to be RWAs. It's going to be stable coins, tokenized treasuries, bonds, stocks, all of that. And this is bullish as an XRP investor because, again, that's what we were built for from day one. This is going to be a massive vector of growth for cryptocurrencies. Monica Long saying banks are no longer asking if they should tokenize. They're asking how. And talking to her, they're talking to the right person here. Good Morning America says Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse speaking at XRP Las Vegas with the following quote, "People underestimate what can happen over the next 4 years. And I would say what can happen over the next 12 months. It could be massive. This space moves quick. They got most of the functionality shored up here. Now it's about onboarding both users and builders onto this blockchain. Let's hope we start making a lot of traction there. And we very well. And when it happens, it's going to move really quick. Now, we saw this situation here. You got to understand governments kind of throw out propaganda all the time. But this is really DEFCON 1 energy with the U.S. Draws a line in the Indo-Pacific. You have Pete Hegseth saying, you know what? Economic dependence on China is a trap. Now, we're in the middle of trade negotiations. Does this make you think that we are working towards a productive end? Probably not. He also says that China is preparing, and this wasn't a maybe, this is a siren, talking about an invasion of Taiwan. If that happens or not, I'm just saying this type of talk is probably because things aren't going to a productive, end here. And so when people go, well, XRP's down 10 cents. Well, so is Bitcoin's down. You'll see the S&P, the QQQ, like markets are coming down because we have some risk there. And on days where it gets really hot, you're going to have prices come down. We see this also here. China breaking. They will take forceful measures to safeguard its legitimate rights and interests. If the U.S. insists on going its own way and continues to undermine China's interests, so that they're making also, hey, you keep messing with us, you might get what you're asking for. You look at this, there's risk. You're going to have days where the market sells off. You're going to have, trading sideways. But how does your asset do compared to its contemporaries? You saw in 2020. We got sued. We had individual risk as XRP holders, so XRP went down. Everything else went flying up. It's not going to be like this time around. When this market takes off, XRP is going to be a leader. It's going to be one of the better performers. It already has been early on in this cycle, and I think it will continue for the duration of this bull cycle as we work towards that peak. We haven't got there yet. You can assess on a more foregoing point over the long term, but right now in this time and space, XRP is perfectly positioned to perform well. But you're not gonna, have a big bull run when the market is trading sideways, or you get stuff like this, or trade war escalations. Just understand it's about getting in the right assets, waiting for your time. In our time, it's gonna arrive. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.